This is the first impression video of the recent Chinese web drama 江夜 Evernight. Hi, you're watching Avenue X, where a junkie on good storytelling shares their thoughts, knowledge, and occasional weird ideas on stories and how they're told. 江夜 Evernight is a 60 episodes long IP in web drama that started airing at the very end of October. And right now in China, it's up to about episode 22 or something, so in the 20s. By the end of this year, this drama will finish airing, and it's on Viki, and right now it's about episode 18. Right now I'm up to episode 14, so I think it's a good time to talk about first impression. Like every other IP drama, this is based on an existing web novel, which is extremely long. It was first published on 起点中文网 and written by Mao Ni. This is the author who also wrote A Fighter of Destiny that got turned into another drama last year. 江夜, so far I think, is a much more successful and much more high quality adaptation of the original material. When you look at the cast of this drama, it is pretty insane in terms of all the supporting roles, because this again is, you have the main lead characters, very young people, young girl, young boy, so you have young actors, and I'm gonna talk about them later. But for the surrounding, the supporting ones, the dad's generation, the teacher generation, all those people are just insane cast. You have Li Ming, you have Hu Jun, you have Jin Shijie, you have Zheng Shaoqiu. I mean, I haven't seen him for like ages. And if you don't know, back in the TVB's heydays, he's like the king of Hong Kong TV. And incredibly, all those old actors, like those very well-established actors, all use their own voice. Even like the like Zheng Shaoqiu from Hong Kong, I was just blown away by the fact that they managed to pull this supporting cast. This probably is the strongest supporting cast you'd ever see in any fantasy adaptation. It's insane. It's literally insane. And the reason I think is probably because the lead actor, the young actor, born in 2000s, very, very young, but very, very tall, Chen Feiyu. He is the son of Chen Kaige and Chen Hong. If you know anything about Chinese cinema, Chen Kaige is like one of the most important high-profile director in the industry. Like, if you count like 3 or 4 people that can have the most say in the whole industry, he is one of them. And if you look at Legend of Demon Cat that I talked about last year, one of the really high-profile films, for that film, he built a Tang Dynasty Chang'an city in Xiangyang in Hubei province, and he shot the film, and he spent years building that for this film. But afterwards, that said, that whole city now is used for every other kind of Tang Dynasty-ish setting drama. And this Jiang Ye Evernight, led by his son, is filmed in that city. You can say it's like the kid has the best resources imaginable for anyone who wants to break into acting industry. But it doesn't mean we should judge anyone unfairly just because they're born into that family and they just have it. I mean, if they have a son, someone has to become their son, right? And if that son happens to be good looking and wants to become an actor, then why not use that resource? So there's nothing really wrong with that. Because I think because of the kid's sort of background, that's why every other super successful supporting roles want to join this thing. Because if that big director is saying, do you guys want to, like, help my kids out? And they're probably like, okay, sure, why not? It's a really, it's this, that high circle thing that I just find probably that's the reason why it managed to get a supporting cast that is so unimaginably ace. So I've watched up to episodes 14, and I actually have to say, for the 2 young actors who lead the drama, I think they've done a good job. I wouldn't say like fantastically good or surprisingly incredible, but they haven't disappointed. For the female role, Sang Sang, played by Song Yiren, she is actually much older than the lead actor, and she has much more experience. I think she also, like when she was little, immigrated to Canada and then went back to China and then went back to Canada again. She's actually extremely fluent in Chinese, French, and English. So she kind of has a potential to become like an international player in the industry. And I think her acting is very natural. And I like the fact that she is not one of those traditionally extremely gorgeous looking actresses, like, you know, too pretty to have like physical, almost like hit you physically with their beauty. She looks like somebody that you can know in your real life. And I like the way that her acting is extremely natural and comes across very comfortably, and it fits the character in the book very well. If you haven't read the original book, just keep on watching, because her role is like one of the most important roles in the whole thing. You'll see later. I'm really looking forward to her acting when her role takes that extremely important shift and becomes the sort of center, the epicenter of the entire crazy fantasy world thing. For the young actor, this is really his first official work. So for that, I think he's done a good job. He doesn't have age or experience behind him, and I can imagine the amount of pressure and the amount of nasty people who actually wanted him to fail at doing this. This is a huge production, extremely expensive if you have to carry that on your shoulder. Even if you are the son of the most famous director in China, it still wouldn't be a very easy thing to deal with. I think he's done a good job. I like the fact that he is also a relatively natural actor, definitely not trying to be pretentious or trying to overact or being too self-conscious about outward appearance. But sometimes I think his acting is actually tuned down too much. It's almost like maybe you can just bring it out a little bit more. But in general, it's actually not bad acting. Now let's talk about the sort of hardware again side of things of this drama. It really is one of the best looking drama I've seen this year or in recent years. Comparable, I think, to Tribes and Empires, but it's not so artistic and so pretty as in terms of cinematography and the use of camera as Tribes and Empires, but it's high quality. Especially the fighting scenes, the martial arts scenes, they really do have a very good, probably the stunt team, the martial art director, and the fighting scenes are very, very well made. The CGIs are high quality. They look like done by people who actually understand what aesthetics is and not making it look cheap. Convincing enough, but good looking enough at the same time. The props, the costumes, all fantastic. High quality, lots of money put in. Also, everybody is made to look like human. Like no crazy skin smoothing, no crazy neon light color palette. If you have pores, if you have like slight imperfection on your face, you're gonna keep that. There's no like post smoothing out everything, which is something that I really like. And then there's a good lighting with good amount of contrast, shadows and highlights, like people's face are not lighted as a flat 2D surface. All that shows you it's a high quality. Even the sound effects are actually really well done. So the technical aspects of this drama is really, really high end. And also have to say the set, because it's shot in that crazy city built for a demon cat. I think if you're really into epic scenes, epic fightings, good camera work, good sort of visual, you can just watch this drama for that sake. It's really good. Now let's talk about story. I'm not a huge fan of this story, and I'm not a huge fan of this fantasy setup, because obviously it brings so much of the sort of Game of Thrones feel. The fact that Evernight is coming and gonna end this civilization, and the son of the hell, you know, is gonna be born, and it's gonna bring the long night to this land. I mean, like, when I start to hear that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I hear Game of Thrones. And it even has setups like different countries, and then it has places that's extremely looking like Citadel. But then it has the Chinese, the Asian kind of cultural thing mingled with that, and you also see the traditional Xiuzhen kind of novel, which is basically a very Taoism rooted kind of cultivation for a normal human being to practice and eventually go to the point where they are like, you know, sort of demigod, whatever. It marries the sort of Western fantasy setting with the Chinese traditional kind of fantasy. But at places, it's still really jarring. Just the look of things, the architecture, the costume, the slight undertone sense of being a little bit too pretentious and not grounded. Because for Game of Thrones, it's extremely well grounded actually in European history, in the War of the Roses, in the medieval Europe, in England. Evernight is like, it doesn't quite convince me of the world setting. So that's one problem. And then the story itself, because I think for the original content, it's one of those web novels that really has lasted a long time and then had too many words. There's a lot of watered down element in the original text already. Because of the nature of daily updating, daily writing, like thousands and thousands of words of the original web novel, there's a lot of plot holes, a lot of logic fails, a lot of things that doesn't connect from the beginning to the end. The story itself is not well crafted, I would say. Because of that, I think it's a huge task for the scriptwriter trying to make it make sense and have to make changes at places. And then judging from the sort of 14 or so episodes I've seen, I think it shows that the story itself is not a strong story. The characters are not that well fleshed out. In terms of quality, storytelling, character, and just capturing your emotion or your heart, it is far, far, far away in terms of quality from Game of Thrones. Like when you read Game of Thrones, you very quickly fall in love with Kat, fall in love with Arya, fall in love with Tyrion, fall in love with Jon Snow. They are so real. It lies in the craft of the writer's years of experience, and the fact that he takes so much time to write just one book, and there's editing, there's deleting of the something written and rewrite that happens on his end. But for web novels, because they have to daily throw out thousands of words, otherwise nobody will read your novel, so there's no careful thinking going through the process, resulting in a lot of things that are just not really, well done. So I think that shows. This is a big problem with IP, is most IPs are low quality, and there's nothing you can do about it because the nature of production doesn't allow you to really create high quality things. Unless you write the whole novel and edit it for like 2 years and then put it out chapter by chapter while you already have that finished, but nobody does that because they want money, right? So you have to write as you go. That's the problem with Chinese IP. So if you want to watch this drama, don't expect really well written roles or really well written plot. But this drama, again, is not bad. You immediately get the fact that they really want to do a good job, and they're not kidding you. They're not treating the audiences as morons, okay? So this is not what this drama is doing. So you can feel a certain level of respect when you watch this drama from the production crew, that they want to do good work. It's just the original material. It's not that high quality, so there's only that much you can do. I would say this is one of the better fantasy adaptations I've seen. I am actually curious about once the plot goes to a later part where things start to go crazy, where the two leads start to become what they're destined to become. I want to see if their acting actually can be pulled up a notch, and if there's actually more interesting things going on. I hope it doesn't drag out to the point where you just don't want to watch it as Tribes and Empires, and I think it could avoid that just because the original content is so much, and if you're cramping all that into 60 episodes, it's unlikely to be uneventful. But again, I'm not sure if they're actually gonna end the entire story by the end of 60 episodes, or if they're gonna push that to next season. I haven't seen like 100% sure information about that, and because the drama is still airing, so I don't know where it's gonna end. I actually hope it just ends. It just ends. It will be good. If there's a second season, I probably will not continue watching it. I've actually made and watched an episode, video, of Evernight for my Patreon patrons last night. But Mercury retrograde, that entire recording disappeared. Like, first time I've ever run into that problem in the past year or two. I was like, gobsmacked. So I guess be careful, people, if you don't know, until December the 6th. Mercury retrograde, electronics like to go crazy. Back up your computer and pray. Yeah, I have to make that video again. It's not fun. It really isn't. Thank you for watching Avenue X. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.